Muy buenos días, un gusto de darle la bienvenida en nombre de la Casa de Rusia en Buenos Aires a todos los presentes en la nueva jornada de Tecnología Nuclear Rusa que se lleva a cabo en la plena convocatoria del programa de becas del gobierno de la Federación de Rusia que permite a los extranjeros estudiar gratis en las mejores universidades rusas. Me gustaría recordarle que la inscripción se realiza a través de la página educationinrussia.com antes del 1 de noviembre. Hoy contamos con presencia de representantes de las Casas de Rusia y las embajadas de Rusia en varios países de América Latina, encargados de la selección de los aspirantes al programa de becas estatales. Primero me gustaría ceder la palabra a la directora de la Casa de Rusia en Buenos Aires, Olga Muratova. Por favor.
Muchas gracias. Queridos amigos, estimados colegas, me alegra darles la bienvenida en nombre de la Casa de Rusia en Buenos Aires a todos los presentes en nuestra jornada dedicada a las tecnologías nucleares rusas y a los programas educativos en este ámbito. La promoción de la educación rusa y el apoyo humanitario a los proyectos de las empresas rusas son una de las prioridades de la Casa de Rusia en Argentina. Estamos muy contentos de que en colaboración con nuestros socios de Rosatom, la Universidad Nacional de Investigación Nuclear y la Universidad Politécnica Nacional de Investigación de Tomsk, realizamos por la segunda vez la Jornada de la Tecnología Nuclear Rusa en América Latina en nuestra plataforma virtual. La Corporación Estatal rusa Rosatom es nuestro buen socio desde hace mucho tiempo. Juntos hemos organizado una serie de distintas actividades. Estamos muy contentos de que el encuentro de hoy vaya a abordar los temas educativos, que es especialmente importante ahora, cuando estamos en plena convocatoria de becas para estudiar en Rusia, en el marco del programa de becas estatales del gobierno de la Federación de Rusia. La Casa de Rusia en Buenos Aires selecciona tradicionalmente los aspirantes para estudiar en las universidades especializadas rusas en el marco de este programa con el cupo asignado por la empresa Rosatom. Me gustaría dar las gracias de todo mi corazón a todos los organizadores del evento de hoy. Les deseo a todos buena salud y una charla fructífera. Muchísimas gracias.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Olga. Ahora me gustaría presentarles a Ekaterina Gutkina, la funcionaria de la Casa de Rusia en Chile. Por favor.
Buenos días, muchas gracias. Para mí también es un agrado deslitar a todos por parte del Centro de Ciencia y Cultura de Rusia, Casa de Rusia en Chile. Agradezco a todos los organizadores por esta conferencia. Estoy segura que será de mucha utilidad para los que nos están viendo en este momento. Quería mencionar que cada país tiene cupos asignados de las becas para el estudio y todavía los interesados están a tiempo de postular a aquellas becas. No se lo pierdan, es una gran oportunidad para poder estudiar las carreras, diferentes carreras, sobre todo técnicas y relacionadas con ciencias exactas en Rusia. Les deseo a todos éxito y muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Ekaterina. Bueno, ahora cedo la palabra a Alexei Osipov, agregado de la Embajada de Rusia en Paraguay.
Hola, muy buenos días a todos. Saludos cordiales a los que se están conectando a esta charla y a los organizadores del evento, a los representantes de la Corporación Estatal Rosatom, mis colegas diplomáticos en varias representaciones diplomáticas en la región y a estimados representantes de las universidades, de la MEPhI, de la Politécnica de Tomsk. Y muchísimas gracias por invitarme a este evento. Quisiera destacar, igual que mis colegas, que también ahora estamos en la plena convocatoria para el programa de becas del gobierno de Rusia. Para el Paraguay tenemos 22 cupos disponibles, entre los cuales 4 están proporcionados por la Rosatom y son destinados a las carreras de física nuclear, astronomía, energía y tecnologías de materiales. También es muy importante destacar que los temas de la investigación nuclear están ganando más relevancia en todo el mundo y también en el Paraguay. El Paraguay se está prestando cada vez más atención a los temas nucleares y como uno de los hitos muy importantes en ese sentido, yo podría destacar la inicialización de 2 memorándum de entendimiento entre la Rosatom con el Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores del Paraguay. Uno que se refiere a la formación de recursos humanos en el campo del uso pacífico de la energía nuclear y otro en la formación de la opinión pública favorable también en este campo tan importante. Entonces, mis saludos cordiales a toda la audiencia y espero que disfruten de esta charla. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Alexei. Bueno, también me gustaría recordar que estamos en vivo y que nos estás viendo desde varios países. También contamos con la presencia de embajadores de la educación nuclear rusa que va a compartir sus experiencias. Por otro lado, me gustaría destacar la presencia de invitados especiales, el doctor José Dona, de Cuba, de la Universidad de Habana, y también el doctor Rolando Ticona, de la Universidad San Andrés de Bolivia, así como también a Jorge Quintana, el doctor de la Universidad de Buenos Aires. Bueno, nosotros continuamos. También contamos con presencia de los representantes del consulado, de la sección consular de la Embajada de Federación de Rusia en Bolivia. Así que le cedo la palabra, por favor, que le va a pronunciar también unas palabras.
Sí, buenos días.
Sí, por favor, le estamos escuchando.
Disculpa. Buenos días a todos y todas. Les saludamos desde Bolivia, desde la ciudad de La Paz, donde se realiza un proyecto de construcción del Centro de Investigaciones Nucleares más alto en todo el mundo, en la altura más de 4.000 metros. Aquí siempre, cada año tenemos 65 cuotas para los estudiantes y bolivianos, y en cada convocatoria el lugar especial es para las especialidades nucleares, donde anualmente tenemos bastante diferente cantidad de, pero cada año siente. Lo mínimo que tuvimos fue 5 candidatos por el año, entonces máximo fue 25. Con ese motivo, de nuevo saludamos a todos y el proyecto y a las especialidades nucleares, a todos los participantes de esta conferencia de video, y siempre bienvenidos a quienes te toca, siempre bienvenidos a la sección consular de Rusia, de la Embajada de Rusia en Bolivia, para hacer unos trámites sobre postulación por la beca nuclear. Gracias.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Vamos a continuar. Bueno, desde el descubrimiento de la tecnología nuclear, muchas han sido y siguen siendo sus posibles aplicaciones. Entre ellas, la más conocida es la producción de electricidad. Sin embargo, existen muchas aplicaciones en otros ámbitos: industria, hidrología, agricultura, alimentación, medicina, arte, aplicaciones científicas, exploración espacial, entre otros. Justamente los principales expertos de por la Universidad Nacional de la Investigación Nuclear MEPhI y la Universidad Politécnica Nacional de Investigación de Tomsk, van a hablar justamente de esas aplicaciones. Pero primero vamos a comenzar con un cortito video de presentación.
Climate change is here. Climate change is happening. We're well into the 6th mass extinction event.
More than 1,000 people being rescued just in the early morning hours of Sunday.
Millions of people are likely to suffer worsening food and water shortages.
Climate change. Climate change. Climate change.
We chose nuclear power that has maximum effects in all spheres. Local industry boost, GDP growth, job creation. What is more, nuclear power plants have no emissions. My country successfully walked all the way to be ready to build our first nuclear power plant.
Rosatom Corporation has developed centers for nuclear science and technology. They bring industry enhancement, safety culture development, and build up nuclear competencies to reach scientific and technological advancement.
Nuclear Medicine Center and an irradiation facility can also be parts of the center.
Technologies for a better and much more sustainable future. To be a part of the new. To contribute to the future. To be part of a new adventure that can inevitably contribute to the future. To learn and know more about the technology. The Russian nuclear education. To be independent. To learn and know new things every day. To set and define a goal. To dream. To invent. To innovate. To be successful. To be dynamic. To continue propelling oneself. To be needed. To be a leader. To see the world without stopping. To seize all available opportunities. To enjoy every day. To never put off one's life till tomorrow, because there is no time like the present. To live a life free from procrastination. To get closer to the truth. To become part of a multinational team. To make your choice. The Russian nuclear education.
Muy bien. Ahora me gustaría ceder la palabra a la jefa de Programas Internacionales de Educación Nuclear de la Escuela de Ingeniería Nuclear de la Universidad Politécnica de Tomsk, Doctora Vera Verkhoturova.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So let me start my presentation. Dmitry, could you give me a right to share the screen, please?
Sí, un segundo. Ya está, ¿no?
So while we are switching on the screen, I would like to start orally, and I would like to say that our university is one of the core Rosatom universities in the nuclear training and talking about the South America. Among our graduates are people from Venezuela, from Bolivia, from Brazil, and so the uniqueness of our training is connected to the unique facilities that are a part of our university. And today in my presentation, I would like to show you the opportunities of having such facilities for the prosperity of the country, for the developing of research, and for training personnel. So the thing is that in a cooperation with Rosatom, our university is training the specialists for the Center of Nuclear Science and Technology of Bolivia. We have already finished the training for the personnel of Multipurpose Irradiation Center of Bolivia, and we are developing the training of the experts for the next departments and stages in the development of the center. And the reason is that now we are the only university in Russia having an operating nuclear research reactor and cyclotron in the structure of our university. So that means that, in fact, our university is very close to the model of the Center of Nuclear Science and Research, with almost the same departments and research facilities. And I would like to show you in our presentation the benefits and sometimes even profits for the country of having such facilities. So on this slide, you can see the description of what nuclear research facility is. And here you can see that it's not only research reactor, but it could be the it could be even any facilities that are connected to the use of neutrons and ionizing radiation for research and other purposes. Then on this slide, you can see very shortly the history of development of nuclear research facilities. And if we look briefly at this slide, you can see that from the very beginning, the purpose of the first generation of nuclear research facilities was connected to the military purpose. But from the second generation of the facilities till the current generation of the facilities, nuclear research facilities, so the peaceful use of these facilities has been developing more and more. And now we can use these facilities for research, for getting profit, when we're talking about radiopharmaceuticals production, and for treatment patients if we think about cancer. So on this slide, you can see the characteristics of nuclear research reactor of our university, and you can see that this is rather powerful reactor, 6 megawatt reactor. And here you can see the application fields of this research reactor. It is production of radioisotopes, medical purposes, development of neutron activation analysis. We can use this facility not only for production of medical isotopes, but also for the treatment of cancer patients. Then we can use this facility for nuclear transmutation doping of silicon, which is highly used in higher current semiconductor technology and in nanotechnologies, which is also very important for any country. Radiation material science, and of course, education and training. So then I would like to tell shortly about these directions in application of nuclear research facilities. Silicon doping. Here you can see the characteristics of this process. And the thing is that in our laboratory of silicon doping at University Research Reactor, we produce 5% of the world production of neutron transmutation doped silicon. So, which means that 5%, our reactor gives the 5% of input to the global development of semiconductor and nanotechnologies industry. And if your country wants to develop in this field, of course, you need nuclear research reactors and experts in this field that can be trained at nuclear research reactors. So then, one more application field, and a little bit later I will focus on it more. It is production of medical isotopes. And on this slide, you can see the formulas of medical isotopes that are produced at our nuclear research reactor. Then medical isotopes can be produced not only at nuclear research reactor, but also at cyclotron. And a little bit later, I will tell you about the production of medical isotopes also at the base of cyclotron. And the thing which is of our special pride is that even in Oxford and Cambridge universities, there are not such unique facilities as we have in our university, operating cyclotron with the laboratories and operating nuclear research reactor with the laboratories together. So in this field, we can say that we developed better than the best European and world universities, which could be very beneficial for you if you choose the training in the field of nuclear in Russian universities. One more field of application of nuclear research reactor is neutron activation analysis, which is highly demanded, as you see on the slide, in different industries and areas. It could be used in the field of gas and oil, in agriculture, in biology, in radio ecology, etc. Radiation and environmental monitoring is also possible to be done with the use of nuclear research facility. So, and radiation facilities. You can use this radiation control in industry for liquid radioactive waste, in X-ray diagnostic radiotherapy again. So, and the same thing is, if you have nuclear research facilities, you can use them for your ecology and ecological monitoring. This is very important because there is a stereotype in the world that nuclear and radiation facilities bring the danger to the world. But as you see in the presentation, it is vice versa. They do not bring the danger to the world, but they bring the safety, health, prosperity, and food to the world. So one more application of nuclear research facilities is modification of material properties. So you can use it also in different industries, from semi-precious, coloring semi-precious stones, till material science. Then we can use nuclear and radiation technologies also for education and training. And here you can see research projects that are possible to be done, and they are done at the base of our research reactor. So then we can come to the one more facility. It is not nuclear facility, but it is radiation facility. It is cyclotron. It is big accelerating facility that also can be used for different purposes, from medical purpose, medical isotopes production, treatment of cancer patients, till fundamental studies, activation analysis, production of membranes, etc. So, and today, after my presentation, one of our PhD students from Venezuela will tell briefly about his expertise and research, both at our nuclear research reactor cyclotron, exactly in the field of nuclear medicine, in the field of radiopharmaceuticals production. There is one more facility in comparison with two previous facilities. It is the smallest one. It is Betatron. It is also not nuclear facility, but it is radiation facility. It is compact and portable facility, and it can be used also for medical purposes, not for the treatment in comparison with previous two facilities, are not for medical isotopes production, sorry, in comparison with previous two facilities, but for the treatment. But apart from cancer patients treatment, we can use Betatrons for digital radiography of welded joints, for tomography in the field of aerospace, shipping, and even military equipment. And of course, the most popular use, apart from medical, of Betatrons is non-destructive testing and inspection complexes. So the popularity of Betatrons is shown on this map, and as you see that our university supplies Betatrons from United Kingdom till Asia. And we are proud of the fact that the developer and father founder of this technology and Betatron is the professor of our university, and this is still acting professor. He is the head of the laboratory of Betatron's production, and he has a lot of students, and he still is deeply involved in research and training process. So on this slide, you can see the main milestones in the development of nuclear medicine technologies in our university. And I can say that these are standard directions or standard stages in the development of nuclear medicine technologies. But for our university, it took 40 years to develop it because we were the pioneers in many fields. For our partner countries, it will be much faster because now we are ready to share our experience. Russia is ready to share our experience, not only in training, but also in the use of these facilities, such as cyclotrons, betatrons, research reactors for the needs of nuclear medicine. Then here on the slide, you can see the application of medical isotopes. And as you see, we can use medical isotopes produced both at nuclear research reactor and cyclotron, not only for cancer patients, but also we can use them for the diagnostic of different heart diseases, kidney diseases, thyroid imaging, liver scintigraphy, and even lungs perfusion assessment. On this slide, you can see the formulas of the production of medical isotopes in comparison. In the first part of the slide, you can see the formula of production medical isotopes from molybdenum at the base of our nuclear research reactor, and from the right side, you can see the final product, technetium-99 generator. And our university and the laboratory of radiopharmaceuticals production supply technetium-99 generators to real oncological hospitals and clinics all around Russia. That is why the students and international students who choose the radiopharmaceuticals production as their specialty from the very beginning are involved not only the training and research process, but also in the process of real radiopharmaceuticals production, and they get real professional competences in this field. Then, in the second part of the slide, you can see the formula and basic principles of so-called cyclotron medical isotopes production. And as you see, the isotopes are different. And from the right side, you can see the result, the final product, gold target for Thallium-199, which is also used in nuclear medicine. On this slide, you can see the names of already operating radiopharmaceuticals that are used in our oncological hospitals to treat cancer patients or to do radiodiagnostic and radiotherapy. And all these radiopharmaceuticals are produced at our nuclear research reactor in a cooperation with our medical partners. Now I would like to tell briefly about the perspectives in the development of nuclear medicine, and one of the perspectives is called theranostics. It's a combination of two directions, therapy and diagnostics. It's not a secret that the treatment and diagnostic of cancer patients is connected to the harmful procedures for the patients and physically hard procedures. And one of the prospective directions in nuclear medicine is how to make easier the life of the patients at this different stage of their life. And if we combine two isotopes, diagnostic isotope and therapeutic isotope, it means that we can decrease the number of the procedures that are done for the patient and make the life of the patient easier at this stage. Here on the slide, you can see the results that are already obtained by our university in a cooperation with medical partners in the direction of theranostics. And as you see that already some special radiopharmaceuticals are designed, and even in vitro studies have been done to test these radiopharmaceuticals, and preclinical studies have been done. Then on this slide, you can see the main characteristics of the popularity of betatrons for the use in the field of nuclear medicine. The numbers are very, very bright. So when we use betatrons, 1 minute of the procedure with the use of betatron can replace 5 weeks of radiation, standard radiation therapy after surgery for cancer patients. Just think about this data. You know, again, cancer is very difficult and very hard and challenging disease. Very often we need an operation to treat the patient, and it is very hard procedure, surgery. And after the surgery, traditionally, the patient has to face with 5 weeks of radiation therapy, 5 weeks after heart surgery. And here just 1 minute is enough. 1 minute and 5 weeks. Then when we use betatrons, we can decrease the number of comebacks of cancer in 2.5. It means that when we use traditional therapy for cancer patients, in 10 cases, the cancer can come back after these hard therapeutic procedures. When we use betatron, only in 4 cases, the disease can come back. It means that we will get more healthy patients after such procedure. So that is why betatrons are very popular to be used in treatment of cancer patients, and we really use them in a cooperation with our medical partners to treat the patients. So one more direction, very important direction in nuclear medicine, is neutron capture therapy, and we developed this direction at our nuclear research reactor. This is very important, especially for the treatment of so-called fatal types of the cancer. You know that when the person has brain cancer or neck cancer, very often it is not operable and fatal because you can't use traditional surgery or because you can damage healthy substances of the brain which may have negative consequences for the whole body. You can't use traditional radiation therapy for the same reason. That is why very often brain cancer is fatal. But if you use neutron capture therapy, so you can treat these tumors of the brain and tumors of the neck without damaging healthy substances of the brain or the neck, and there is a higher chance for the patient to be treated. And I can say that at our nuclear research reactor, in a cooperation with international partners, we already use biological objects to test this therapy. So we have successfully treated cats and dogs with brain tumors, and after these procedures, the animals are alive. On this slide, you can see very shortly the scheme of neutron capture therapy and the description of the equipment that is needed if you want to develop this direction. And some words about education. So, as I've already said, our university in a cooperation with Rosatom is training the specialists for Center of Nuclear Science and Technology of Bolivia, and all our students are trained at our operating research, nuclear research facility, cyclotron facility, gamma irradiation facilities, in real producing laboratories. But also there is an opportunity for students to go to our master program, and our master program is in English. You do not need to learn Russian in advance before coming to the program. And within master program, you can choose any of 3 directions, and all these directions are very important for your countries. It is nuclear power engineering, nuclear medicine, and nuclear safety, security, and non-proliferation of nuclear materials, which is needed for all activities connected to nuclear radiation. Then our graduates go to work in the industry. They are successfully employed in the industry because from 2015 we have international students. Or you can continue your study at our PhD program. And here I would like to give a floor to our, by the way, PhD student from Venezuela, who, as I have already said, is doing his research in the field of nuclear medicine and medical isotopes production, both at Nuclear Research Reactor and cyclotron. And by the way, the student is employed in our university, and he is doing not only the research, but also he is teaching students. And by the way, the students from South America, Bolivian students, the students from Brazil, etc. So Nelson, you're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Vera Verkhoturova. I'm gonna switch to Spanish.
Of course.
Buenas tardes a todos por allá. Mi nombre es Nelson Villa, como ya me introdujeron. Voy a contarles un poco de lo que ha sido mi experiencia aquí en Rusia. Yo llegué a hacer una maestría. En mi caso fue en ruso, en idioma ruso, pero como ahora la han abierto a idioma inglés, entonces ya no tienen el desafío de aprender el idioma para estudiar la maestría. Pero la maestría, por ejemplo, yo la hice en la Universidad Politécnica de Tomsk, la hice en el área de Física e Ingeniería Nuclear, pero orientada a física médica. En mi caso, yo al final de mi maestría yo me enfoqué al área de física médica. Trabajamos con un programa que fue desarrollado en la universidad para simular interacción de la radiación con la materia. Ese programa funciona tanto para materiales como para interacción de radiación con pacientes. Luego comencé con el doctorado aquí, el cual estoy haciendo producción de radioisótopos. Para eso estamos investigando un nuevo camino para producir radioisótopos como el tecnesio 99, del cual hay un déficit a nivel mundial. Lo estamos desarrollando no en base al reactor nuclear, que es lo común que se obtiene en el mundo, es a base de reactor nuclear. Nosotros, en conjunto, por solicitud de la Organización Internacional de Energía Atómica, que está pidiendo nuevos métodos para producir el tecnesio 99. Nosotros estamos investigando un nuevo método que es producirlo en ciclotrón, irradiando blancos de circonio. Entonces es un nuevo método experimental del cual ya hemos tenido varias publicaciones. Y en el reactor de aquí de Tomsk también se sigue produciendo el tecnesio 99 a base del reactor nuclear, el cual se vende a diferentes países del mundo y es una gran demanda que obtenemos de ahí. Por otro lado, también quiero decirles que la universidad cuenta con residencias estudiantiles, áreas recreacionales, tienen apoyo los estudiantes para instalarse, para moverse dentro de la ciudad los primeros días. O sea, la universidad está adecuada para recibir estudiantes extranjeros de cualquier sitio. Y yo soy fe de ello. Y estoy a la orden por si tienen alguna pregunta o algo en algún momento respecto a la vida aquí. Pueden contactar conmigo. Y eso es todo lo que iba a decir. Thank you. I finished.
Thank you very much. So, Dmitry,
sí, bueno, Nelson, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, Vera. Bueno, sí, vamos a continuar. Le gustaría comentar que nos encontramos en vivo en la página de la Casa de Rusia en Buenos Aires. Ahí abajo de la transmisión puede dejar sus preguntas, sus comentarios, y mientras avanzamos, después podemos anunciar las preguntas y le van a contestar. Bueno, ahora con un gran gusto le presento a la doctora en Ciencias Biológicas, Alla Udalova, de la Universidad Nacional de Investigación Nuclear, MEPhI.
Thank you very much. Good day, good afternoon or morning to all our participants. Thank you for organizing this event. It's very interesting, useful, and it's very nice to see our old friends. And also I hope that after our meeting, more people would be involved in our activities and come to our universities. So I'm from Nuclear Research University in Russia. And my presentation today will give you some review of most interesting and modern applications of nuclear technologies in non-energetic sphere. And at the end of my presentation, I will show you some information about our university also. Well, so first of all, I must explain what is non-energetic applications. Of course, in all nuclear technologies, we use nuclear reactions. And in these reactions, we definitely have release of huge amount of energy. And sure, first idea that came to scientists at the beginning of this field was to utilize this energy. This is why nuclear power engineering started, and now it's quite famous in the world. And I think that everyone would answer to the question, what is nuclear applications today? This is nuclear power engineering. And by the way, in Obninsk, where I am located, and our branch of our university is located also, the first in the world nuclear power plant was launched. This is here, not farm. Now this is museum. But, well, this energy released in nuclear reactions can be used for electricity production in nuclear power engineering, or otherwise we can exploit this energy immediately as direct heat. So there are many fields where we can use nuclear energy for different processes. And in current world, there is demand in all these applications. So some examples here. This could be desalination of water, because there is a leakage of fresh water in the world. In cold countries, we are very interested in central heating systems, and they can be fed with nuclear energy also. Well, this heat is very required in many industrial processes like metal industry, for example, and it can be used, or it's already used for ship propulsion, as we know on the example of Russian nuclear fleet. And the last but not the least is a chemical industry and, for example, production of hydrogen as fuel for the future. But all these are not the topic of my presentation today. This is just examples of energetic applications of nuclear energy. Two fields, electricity generation and non-electric applications. But in these nuclear reactions, we have as a result not only energy, well, this is energy, but in other forms. We have also radiations emitted in the form of photons and in the form of ionizing particles, and also daughter products of nuclear reactions. And all these can be used for many non-energetic applications where specific properties of these products can be utilized. Specific properties are large penetration of radiation, ionizing ability, very unusual properties of radioactive isotopes. And today in my short presentation, I'm going to show you some examples of these applications. Actually, today we even we have very little ideas, we don't know much about these applications. And we don't know that in many fields of our life, nuclear applications are already ongoing for many years, actually. So among the most developed fields are agriculture and food industry, medical applications, new materials production, and so on and so far. Well, let's look at some examples. Let me start from food industry, because this is really a problem. Food safety is a real problem in many countries today. And everyone knows that radiation can cause some detrimental effects. But you know, it's just our skills that can help us to utilize these detrimental effects for our benefits. For example, we can use radiation to stop or at least delay sprouting of vegetables. Because of such sprouting of potato, for example, 50% of all world production of these vegetables are lost every year. And well, what irradiation does? It just damages these sprouts. It's very similar to, you know, maybe you know, sometimes people cut it by fingers, just break by fingers. The same can be done with radiation at high efficiency, and due to good penetration of radiation, large amounts of products can be treated at large speed. Also, delaying sprouting is very useful to stop this process in different bulb vegetables. Growing point in bulbs is inside, and radiation can penetrate at this point and also break dividing growing cells and stop this sprouting. If we increase the dose of radiation a bit, we can also inhibit some other processes in agricultural products. And due to this effect, we can delay maturation and ripening of different fruits and vegetables. And because of this process, we can increase shelf life of products. So again, losses could be minimized with these applications. This is very essential for tropical fruits and short-lasting products. Because of this delay, we can deliver them to far countries like Russia or North America or some other countries at long distances. One more problem in agriculture is insects, pests. they damage a huge amount of our harvest and cause losses of nutritive value of different products. And what can people do against it? I guess you know traditional applications, traditional methods to fight against pests. Usually it involves application of chemicals, and everyone understands that chemicals can have not only useful but also negative impact. First of all, on the environment. And if by mistake such products appear on your table among your food, there could be poisoning, of course. Unfortunately, there were such examples. There are also other arguments for radiation technologies, for radiation desinsectation. The matter is insects can adapt to chemicals very good. But for radiation, adaptation is impossible because doses used applied kill these insects totally. Well, and there are also other arguments that you can see in my slide. And radiation technologies here are very, very useful. But today, actually, in food industry, this application is most demanded. Food irradiation. It can sound scary for people, I know, but actually this is normal term definition used by international organizations, and application of radiation for decontamination of food products against microbiological contamination is cleared by international organizations. And this process is absolutely safe for consumers, but this is absolutely harmful for microorganisms, bacteria, and parasites that can appear in food. Two main purposes can be achieved with food irradiation. This is elongation of shelf life of food, and also prevention of different foodborne diseases in people. Well, so elongation of shelf life can be several times from normal. So for meat, for example, if you put a piece of meat on your table in a vacuum package and leave it at room temperature, in a couple of days, it's already rotten and you can't eat it. But after radiation treatment, such a piece of meat can be stored at your table in kitchen for about 10 days without any changes of taste and smell and other properties. Well, in this slide, you can see main types of products which are treated with radiation for this purpose. Among them, different meats and poultry and fish products. Second group are different fisheries, sea products, and also spices and other powder-like things which we use also in our life. In all these cases, effect is very good. What is also very nice, we can treat, we can work with fresh meat, for example, or with semi-ready products, or with absolutely ready for consumption products, and always there is very effective decontamination of this. Next field where radiation technologies are applied today are medicine, and in our previous lecture, Professor Verkhoturova showed you very interesting examples and very persuasive presentation. So I will tell just a few words about medical applications in fields not connected directly to treatment and diagnostics. For medical applications and also for many other applications, we need radionuclides. And there are different ways to produce radioisotopes. You've heard about some of them again from previous lecture, but also very popular way to produce radioisotopes are using of research reactors. In many countries who are going to develop nuclear technologies, there are projects of construction of research reactors. Please remember always that research reactors are not nuclear power plants. They're absolutely different. Also, they have a nuclear reactor inside, of course. Research reactors are used mostly for radioisotopes production, for material science studying, and for different radiobiological and medical studies. Also, often they are used for educational purposes. For example, our university has such research reactor on its territory, and attention, it's located in the center of Moscow, just about 10 kilometers from the Kremlin. Remember, it's absolutely safe. Well, one more example of medical applications is, of course, radiation sterilization of medical equipment and supplies. Today, in our years already of our coronavirus pandemic, we all understand very much how do we need these well-sterilized things. Radiation sterilization works like a gold standard of sterilization in the world because effectiveness is the highest among all possible methods of medical sterilization. And today, over 200 types of such products can be treated with radiation. Also, radiation can be applied to improve our environment and in other fields. For example, you know, this problem of water contamination with industrial and agricultural and other activities. Existing methods to clean the water are not always effective enough. Radiation technologies, again, are very good because they are effective against all types of contaminants of chemical, physical, and also of biological origin. All right. One more absolutely fascinating technique . Well, is it okay with internet connection? Yeah.
Sí, creo que sí.
Looked like a loss of connection for a moment. Well, so you lost my presentation on the screen, right?
Sí, sí, да.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm back. Well, so sterile insect technique. In this case, especially rare insects are sterilized with radiation. And usually they use male insects because they are more sensitive to radiation and we can apply lower doses. Then these males, which are sterile, are released into the environment where they meet females. They mate, but they don't give viable progeny. This is very simple and sophisticated technology simultaneously because this has very high biological selectiveness. You understand it can work only against the target type of animals, of insects. Only target species will be affected. And success stories of this technology are very impressive. I'll show just some of them. Okay, so first it was applied in United States against screwworm fly. It used to cause huge harm to American cattle industry. With SIT technology, they clean their territories of this fly. And over 60 years, they have no screw-worm fly on their territories. Another impressive example is a company against tsetse fly in Africa. Also, I guess everyone knows how bad is this fly. It causes harm both to human and to cattle. And now many countries under supervision of IAEA participate in programs of cleaning territories of this fly in Africa. One more example, especially related to agricultural applications, are fruit flies. Also, I think you all know what are they, and they are widespread in the world. And many countries now use SIT to decrease populations of fruit fly and to improve quality of fruit production in their countries. And the last, but very popular today issue are fight against mosquitoes, because they are vectors for different diseases like Zika virus or also malaria or other types of viruses. And again, today there are successes in application of this technology, and we can decrease exactly target populations of insects. Just a few words about new materials. Well, there are several applications, but most widespread is radiation polymerization. In this case, polymers, which are lone molecules, are exposed to radiation to create new chemical bonds between these molecules. And because of this process, this polymer material became more resistant to different types of impacts. It works very good, and these molecules, you know, they like hold each other, similar to these hands. To many applications of radiation technology, there are traditional analogues which not involve radiation. Usually, they are based on chemical technologies, but in most cases, radiation technologies are better. They give high efficiency and less harm, and they are cost effective. Right, so with this technology today, they produce a lot of types of materials, and maybe you've never known that cables and plumber pipes and other items are produced with radiation technologies, and we use them every day. Well, also just a couple of examples in the field of devices and measurements made with the use of radiation. This is very traditional already, non-destructive control with radiation sources, because this is an application over 100 years today. And this is used, as you see, in many fields, in many industries. And these people who apply it, you know, they work like doctors. Just their patients are these metallic constructions, pipes and so on. Here we utilize penetrating ability of radiations. It can be also used in other fields for other ideas, like, as you see, measurements of sizes and controlling necessary sizes and widths of different materials, like very, very hot metals or very fragile materials like glass. We can control and measure a flow of gases and liquids in pipes without any destruction of these pipes. And precision is also very good. We can even understand how large are processes of corrosion inside these pipes, again, without any destruction of them, just measuring it with penetrating radiation. In science, radiation technologies serve as a tool to study a lot of different things. And I think that for young people, I believe that most participants today are young. It must be most attractive field because we look for new, we study new processes, and we are up to find new ideas. For example, very known application, radiation, decay of radionuclides can work like atomic clocks because they follow very strictly to this stochastic law. So when we know how many isotopes do we have now in our sample material, we can understand, we can calculate the time which went from the moment of this material was created to born. And these properties are used today, for example, in water hydrology, in isotopic hydrology. Knowing the half-life of different radionuclides like tritium or radiocarbon or other isotopes, we can understand the age of water reservoirs underground and understand how do they develop, how do they renovate their resources and all these environmental processes. Talking about South America, for example, you know, there is this legendary aquifer Guarani on the territory of South America. In normal maps, in geographical maps, you will never see this huge lake, yes, but this is there underground. This is the largest in the world reservoir of fresh water, and its origin and fate is studied with the help of natural radioisotopes. Well, then, you know, radiation has no smell. We cannot see it by eyes or feel it by our skin or hands. But for special devices, this is visible, of course. And it's not just visible, but special equipment can distinguish every radioisotope like these different colors. It gives us a very powerful tool. Think, for example, about water molecule. For a chemical method, this is just water, but we know that there are 3 different isotopes of hydrogen. And for radiation and nuclear technologies, they are distinguishable. So we can look after them and understand processes where they're involved. This way, we can give kind of color to different processes. Today, the method of isotopic labeling is applied again in many, many applications, and we study environmental processes, migration of insects and birds, fate of contaminants in the environment, industrial processes, and metabolism of different substances, both of nutritive value or, for example, of toxins in our organisms, and so on so far. There are hundreds of applications of this method, and I believe we can make up much more. And at last, some fascinating stories about applications of these technologies in art. Remember, radiation can sterilize. It means that it can kill bacteria and other organisms. In art, it's applied actually. You can see this example of the mummy Ramses II sterilization, which after several thousand of years started to be infected with parasites. So it was irradiated in Paris Institute of Human, and it was saved. Actually, today, many countries use this, and one of really promoted technologies are applied in Brazilian Institute of Nuclear Energy and Technologies, if I remember correctly, is the name of institute. So many pieces of art are sterilized with radiation. Also, radiation and nuclear methods can help us to understand chemical and isotopic composition of different materials with very high precision. Here again, just one example using of X-ray rays to understand this painting. With these technologies, scientists could reveal not only when and where this painting was made, but who was the author, who was the artist of this historical piece. There are many applications, many methods, and just I'd like to mention such a technology as neutron activation analysis. It helps us with extremely high precision reveal chemical and isotopic composition of materials. And for this analysis, we need a very small amount of substance. You see this example, just a hair of this famous scientist, Isaac Newton, was used to measure content of heavy metals in rest of his body. And this technology showed increased content of some heavy metals in the hair, which means, well, we don't know, maybe he was poisoned, but rather he just used these heavy metals without necessary protection. And the last example, again with isotopic ratios, we can reveal origins of different materials. And today it's used even in criminalistics in modern crimes surveys. For example, there are luxury products which cost huge money. And of course, there are frauds of it. You see these two cans with honey. One is real, another is not. And we can understand which is good, which is not. Now it's applied for other products also in different countries. So hope I could show you this wide spectrum of applications possible for radiation and nuclear technologies today in non-energetic sphere. I think that involvement of people and formation of positive opinion about these technologies are very important because they are fantastic. They give us a lot of benefits and they must be implemented in more fields and spheres of our life. But of course, to do it, we need specialists. We need people who got proper education in nuclear sphere. And so a couple of thoughts about our university, National Research Nuclear University, MEPhI, which stands for Moscow Engineering and Physics Institute. This is a leading university in the field of nuclear education in the Russian Federation. This is the head of Association of Nuclear Universities in Russia. And today we invite foreign students to two campuses, headquarters in Moscow, and also there is Obninsk campus about 80 kilometers of Moscow. In our university, there are a number of professions and specialties, but I represent here, of course, this one, the first Institute of Nuclear Power Engineering. In our university today, we have pretty high amount of foreign students. You can see from this slide. A quarter of all students are international. And last year, we had 1,600 of foreign students from over 80 countries. They study in different educational levels in bachelor and specialist and master levels and PhD programs also. And there is pre-university or pre-faculty where we invite foreign students to prepare for this studying, where they can learn Russian if they'd like to study in Russian language program, or just to masterize their basic knowledge in math and physics. Here are lists of programs. Actually, in our university, there are over 150 education programs. But here I just show those which relate to nuclear education. And in this orange color, I showed programs which are realized in English language. Of course, Russian language programs are more in number. And well, we now have a pretty well experience of studying, of training students both in language and English educational programs. Well, in this slide, the first stage of education, bachelor, traditional programs of 4 years, and specialists, which takes 5 to 5.5 years. And after this, when you have diploma in bachelor or specialist degree, you can come to master programs. Again, there are a lot of them. And again, here, just those which are most close to nuclear education in our university. Well, and of course, we have PhD students from different countries. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Hope it was interesting and useful. And I'm always happy to answer questions now or later, by different communication possibilities. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, doctora. La verdad que por mostrarnos un gran abanico de aplicaciones de tecnologías nucleares en varios ámbitos, ¿no? Bueno, ahora vamos a ceder la palabra a Sebastián Cuenca, que es el embajador de la energía nuclear rusa en Bolivia. Él es ingresado justamente de la Universidad MEPhI, del programa Cooperación Científica, Técnica Industrial Comercial Internacional. Sebastián, por favor.
Muchas gracias. Sí, ya comparto mi pantalla. Ahí está. Bueno, hoy, buenas tardes a todos. Voy a compartir mi experiencia en la Universidad Nacional de Investigación Nuclear MEPhI, ¿no? Es recientemente egresado de un máster, ¿no? En esta carrera que ya me presento. Bueno, voy a hacer una introducción, voy a hablar de la especialidad y unas experiencias que tuve en la universidad. Primero, ¿por qué Rusia? ¿Por qué elegir Rusia? Pues la Rusia, como boliviano, me ha dado muchas oportunidades, las posibilidades de estudiar en diferentes ámbitos, en diferentes especialidades que no existen en Bolivia, ¿no? También estaba muy animado en estudiar, en especializarme, porque en Bolivia se está construyendo un centro de investigación y desarrollo en tecnología nuclear, que justamente va a tener un ciclotrón, una planta multipropósito de irradiación y un reactor de investigación, ¿no? Esto se está construyendo en el Alto y pues me propuse especializarme más para poder contribuir al proyecto nuclear en Bolivia, ¿no? Para el desarrollo integral del país, ¿no? Entonces en Rusia encontré también que hay mucho conocimiento porque tiene mucha experiencia en este ámbito. Encontré que hay más tecnología y ciencia en este ámbito, no solamente en esto, en muchas áreas, pero en el ámbito nuclear es muy avanzado. Y también las carreras que existen en Rusia. Entonces todo esto me motivó a poder postular y lograr una beca allá en Rusia, en la Universidad de MEPhI, ¿no? Y postular a MEPhI para los compañeros, estudiantes, jóvenes, ¿no? Universitarios que están viendo este webinar, pues decirles de que la universidad, pues para ingresar a una carrera, ya sea en pregrado o posgrado, hay un año, ¿no? Un año preparatorio, donde se incluyen, ¿no? Las áreas de matemáticas, una nivelación en matemáticas, una nivelación en informática, en física e idiomas, ¿no? El idioma, como ustedes saben, el ruso, muy importante, ¿no? Pero también hay la posibilidad de estudiar en inglés, como mencionaron, ¿no? Pero allá tienes que comunicarte, si vas a aprender ruso, igual aprendes mucho el inglés, ¿no? En mi carrera se llama Cooperación Científica, Tecnológica, Industrial, Comercial Internacional. ¿Y qué tiene esta carrera? Es muy interesante porque es una simbiosis, una mezcla de muchos conocimientos. Es un programa primero único en Rusia. No hay otro, sin igual, donde existen carreras multidisciplinarias. Tienes que tener conocimientos de matemáticas, de física, de química, ¿no? Tienes que tener conocimientos de economía, te preparan en el área de economía. Aprendí Python, ¿no? Que es un lenguaje de programación muy utilizado, y esto me ayudó bastante y me ayuda bastante a poder hacer otros trabajos con mayor eficiencia, ¿no? También pasé clases con un grupo de rusos. Tuve la oportunidad de hacer, hay oportunidades, ¿no? De hacer intercambios. Conozco a mis compañeros, algunos de ellos que hicieron intercambio en China, por ejemplo, ¿no? Se fueron a China porque la carrera involucra aprender varios idiomas, como esto pertenece al Instituto de Relaciones Internacionales, ¿no? También hay la oportunidad de hacer prácticas en el Organismo Internacional de Energía Atómica. Tengo una compañera, ¿no? Valeria se llama, ella hizo sus prácticas allá. También hay la oportunidad de ganar becas, prácticas laborales en Rosatom, ¿no? Si uno sobresale. Felizmente tuve esa oportunidad y trabajé en Rosatom Service, ¿no? Con una beca, ¿no? Entonces me especialicé más en el tema de gestión de proyectos científicos tecnológicos. Miren, la experiencia muy linda porque pues tuvimos la oportunidad de compartir en un ambiente multicultural, ¿no? Donde hay estudiantes de diferentes países, ¿no? Hicimos prácticas en otras universidades también, ¿no? En MGU, es una universidad muy conocida en Rusia, pues ahí estuvimos también participando en unos cursos de radioquímica y después postulamos a ser embajadores. También tuvimos esa oportunidad, la aprovechamos, ¿no? Entonces Rusia, la Universidad de MEPhI, Rosatom, te brindan una gran cantidad de oportunidades para poder tú formarte y poder ser un ejemplo de estudiante y poder también animar a otros bolivianos, a otros compañeros de otros países, ¿no? Que se animen a estudiar en Rusia, ¿no? Entonces, acá llegando, terminando, ya me llamaron para diferentes conferencias, estuve en un congreso internacional, ahora actualmente en radios, en medios televisivos también, medios radiales, y también en algunos colegios, en algunas universidades, ¿no? Trataron de explicar en qué consiste la tecnología nuclear, cuáles son los beneficios de esta tecnología. Actualmente sigo apoyando a algunas organizaciones sociales, tratando de orientarlos también. Pues puedo decir finalmente que la experiencia en Rusia, la universidad, Rosatom, todo lo que me ha brindado en estos años, pues me ha llenado de satisfacción y animo a todos los estudiantes, ¿no? De Latinoamérica que puedan ser parte de un proyecto científico nuclear. Bueno, muchas gracias por su atención. Les agradezco mucho.
Muchas gracias, Sebastián. Te quería hacer una pequeña pregunta. Lo que vi allá publican los chicos que nos están mirando. ¿Puedes comentar solo un poquito de los costos de estadía a la hora de, bueno, a la hora de llegar a Rusia?
Bueno, sí, los costos desde la universidad te cubre todos los estudios, también el lugar donde uno va a habitar. Sin embargo, los costos de alimentación uno los cubre, ¿no? Los costos de alimentación, de vestimenta, de transporte. Los costos no son muy caros, si hablamos en comparación con Bolivia, son muy similares, pero más o menos uno tendría que tener unos $100 mínimo, porque la universidad también te da un estipendio, y unos $100 es suficiente mensualmente. Pero aquí puedo aclarar y aprovecho también informar de que si uno se esfuerza, puede ganar becas en la misma universidad, puede postular, como yo lo hice en Rosatom Service, y me pagaban un monto de dinero similar a estos $100 que me era suficiente para poder hacer gastos allá en Rusia, ¿no? Realizar mis gastos, cubrir todos mis gastos.
Muchas gracias. Y también tenemos que destacar que cada universidad otorga un lugar de residencia, que las habitaciones obviamente son compartidas, pero bueno, a un costo muy, muy económico. Bueno, siempre decimos que el promedio son $20, pero bueno, eso puede variar un poquito, ¿no? También cada universidad tiene biblioteca. Bueno, corregime, Sebastián, si me equivoco, pero las universidades te prestan libros, o sea, no tienes que comprar absolutamente nada. Así que es también un gran beneficio. Así que bueno,
sí. Puedo acotar, sí, la universidad tiene en realidad una biblioteca enorme y tienen convenios para que uno pueda entrar, por ejemplo, a bibliotecas virtuales en todo el mundo. Eso es muy importante porque ahí puedes entrar, por ejemplo, a Web of Science o Scopus, donde están las publicaciones de los trabajos científicos, los papers, ¿no? Que son muy importantes, son investigaciones que se han hecho recientemente. Entonces, eso también te brinda, ¿no? La posibilidad de poder investigar, sacar material, los libros totalmente gratuitos.
Gracias. Muchas gracias, Sebastián. Y también me gustaría destacar que no tengan miedo porque la beca incluye también la facultad preparatoria, donde en el primer año va a estudiar los primeros meses el idioma ruso y después las materias que, bueno, según la carrera elegida, ¿no? Así que, bueno, es una gran oportunidad y también me gustaría decir que hay algunos estudiantes argentinos que en este momento se encuentran, bueno, ahora tenemos un estudiante argentino que se encuentra en este momento en Moscú, en MEPhI, y hay dos más que van a viajar, bueno, este año cuando salgan las visas, así que bueno, ya tenemos 3 argentinos en MEPhI. Bueno, también me gustaría contarles que, recordarles más que nada que la convocatoria de becas permanece abierta hasta el 1 de noviembre. Le voy a compartir la pantalla, esa de la página educationinrussia.com, con guiones en el medio. Ahí tienen que registrarse como en cualquier otra página, como si fuera, bueno, Facebook o Instagram. Le va a llegar un mail a su correo electrónico, después confirman y ya puede entrar y armar su perfil. Ahí pueden elegir las carreras, bueno, puede ser estas nucleares que acaban de ver. Ahí pueden elegir la Universidad MEPhI o la Universidad de Tomsk, Politécnica de Tomsk, así que bueno, los invito. Pero tengan en cuenta que tiene tiempo hasta el 1 de noviembre, así que falta poco, apúrense por favor. También tengan en cuenta que cada país tiene su propio cupo de becas otorgado por el gobierno de Rusia, ¿no? O sea, por ejemplo, nosotros, la Casa de Rusia en Argentina, nosotros manejamos el cupo para Argentina. Ustedes vieron los representantes de la Casa de Rusia y de las embajadas de otros países de América Latina. Bueno, ellos también tienen sus propios cupos. O sea, si usted vive, digamos, en Cuba o República Dominicana, bueno, tiene cupo para su país, se tiene que, bueno, consultar o en la Casa de Rusia en su país, o si no hay, entonces en la embajada. Bueno, ¿qué más? Bueno, a partir del 1 de noviembre, ya las casas de Rusia o, bueno, las embajadas van a empezar el proceso de selección de los candidatos en la primera etapa. La segunda sería ya el Ministerio de Educación y las universidades que ustedes eligen. En la primera etapa vamos a formar un grupo de trabajo integrado, bueno, por varios representantes. Y yo, a mí me gustaría presentarles al profesor de la Facultad de Ingeniería, Gerardo Quintana, que es un miembro permanente de nuestro grupo de trabajo en Argentina. Y bueno, les doy la palabra, voy a pronunciar unas palabras.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Dimitri, por esta invitación. Efectivamente, desde hace ya unos cuantos años, personalmente, más que personalmente, porque yo soy profesor titular de la Facultad de Ingeniería de la Universidad de Buenos Aires, colaboramos con la Casa de Rusia en lo que tiene que ver con la selección de los postulantes a las becas que ofrece el gobierno de Rusia. Es un trabajo arduo, porque significa estudiar los antecedentes de muchos postulantes, hacer un orden de mérito, y luego en otras instancias, la embajada, el Ministerio de Educación y las propias universidades, finalmente eligen los candidatos que van a ir a estudiar, a hacer los cursos de grado o de posgrado en Rusia. Yo lo hago no en forma personal, sino porque pertenezco a la Universidad de Buenos Aires, a través de la Facultad de Ingeniería. Y a propósito de esto, quiero contar lo siguiente. Ya desde hace 15 años aproximadamente, me tocó en una invitación a Rusia, la cual estuve en varias oportunidades, firmar un memorándum de entendimiento entre la Facultad de Ingeniería de la Universidad de Buenos Aires y Rosatom. Como consecuencia de ese memorándum de entendimiento, a lo largo de estos 15 años hemos tenido muchas actividades de cooperación, de intercambio, de especialistas, de reuniones que organizamos en Buenos Aires con expertos, muchos de ellos pertenecientes a MEPhI, y realmente para nosotros fue una ayuda muy importante, porque tener este tipo de contactos es algo muy valedero, dado el alto nivel tecnológico que tiene el desarrollo nuclear en Rusia. Así que a través de ese memorándum de entendimiento, que de alguna manera es un marco para la colaboración, tenemos una intensa actividad de intercambio. Por supuesto que el desarrollo tecnológico en el área nuclear rusa es muy importante, así que de alguna manera somos los principales beneficiarios. Lo único que quiero decir es que en la Universidad de Buenos Aires, en la Facultad de Ingeniería, nosotros hace años que estamos dedicados a la formación de recursos humanos en las áreas nucleares. Hace 40 años que comenzamos con estas actividades entre la Facultad de Ingeniería y los organismos nucleares de nuestro país, como puede ser la Comisión Nacional de Energía Atómica, la Nucleoeléctrica Argentina Sociedad Anónima, el Instituto Balseiro que se encuentra en Bariloche, y como consecuencia de esta actividad en formación de recursos humanos, fundamentalmente en el área de posgrado, de entonces a ahora tenemos aproximadamente 1.200 egresados. Esta actividad que hacemos nosotros, de los cuales la mitad de todos los que han egresado pertenecen a países hermanos latinoamericanos, cuenta con el auspicio y el apoyo del Organismo Internacional de la Energía Atómica. Y como digo, esta actividad de formación de recursos humanos en estos 40 años ha culminado con que hemos formado alrededor de 1.200 especialistas. Y esto es una actividad que hacemos nosotros dentro del país en estos programas de posgrado, que además se le suman, como acabo de decir, nuestra cooperación que hacemos entre, en particular, la Facultad de Ingeniería y Rosatom. Así que eso es una muy pequeña síntesis de nuestra actividad en el área nuclear.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Gerardo. Creo que con esto vamos a cerrar. Le agradezco a todos los presentes, a todos los expositores, a todos los que nos estaban viendo. Así que muchas gracias y nos vemos en las próximas charlas. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.